Thank you so much for staying with us. We promised we would have conversations around June 30's expiration date, or should I say a deadline, declared by some South Africans who are protesting illegal migration in their country. Ehi Brahma joins us this morning. He is a forthright editor. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. What are your thoughts on this? One of the concerns a good number of people have is that, hey, this is not happening for the first time. It's not hitting us like it's a tsunami. It's not something that is new. It's been on and off. It seems like some kind of seasonal episode that we have. What are your thoughts on this? What is it that we are missing? Can you hear me, Mr. Brahma? Mr. Brahma, can you hear me? Okay. Well, I am not sure that he can hear us now.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So the question I'm asking, I mean, this whole xenophobia thing going on in South Africa, it seems like some kind of seasonal occurrence, something that happens from time to time, goes and then comes again, goes and then comes again, some furore here and there, particularly against Nigerians. And then here we are again. What is it that you think we are missing?
Thank you, Ayo. What is going on in South Africa is largely political. It has nothing to do with crime. It has nothing to do with status of immigrants, honestly. But it is shameful knowing the role that Nigeria played, during the apartheid regime, to get South Africa to become a free country, as it were. But having said that, what is going on currently has been framed largely as immigrants taking their jobs, immigrants putting pressure on their public services. That is not true. The government has failed, and they don't want to take responsibility. Politicians, they will do anything. Local elections are coming up in November in South Africa. And the march in March, which is not March on March, started in March. And I can tell you for free that politicians are largely behind this process. They just have to look for a reason, to gain votes. And now they have people they are using. And how is this happening? South Africa, they are 64 million people. And immigrants are not up to, there are more than 3.1 or 3.2 million people, about 4.5% of the population of South Africa. So what exactly is the problem? And the fear is that I think today is the last day, June 30, for immigrants. And the irony, Ayo, is that this does not extend to white immigrants. And that is very unfortunate. Knowing the history of South Africa, it is so shameful. And then the government of South Africa have been so quiet and slow about this whole thing. Because how do they address inequality, unemployment, crime rate in South Africa? Why are South African people so lazy? Nigerians who go to South Africa, most of them create their own businesses. Now, there's what they call spaza shops, those small retailer outlets, largely dominated by Pakistanis and Somalians. They are the people taking food to the, neighborhoods, so the communities. South Africans are just sitting there and idle. What about Nigerians married to South Africans? What happens to their children? And you said people who are married, to South Africa, whether men or women should leave. What happens to their kids? Now, the government of Nigeria now has to look for a way now to give them, a Nigerian ID so that if they have to come to Nigeria, they come. But having said that, our government must speak out forcefully now at this time against this xenophobic nonsense that is going on in South Africa. I think we have also been too quiet about this matter, and evacuation too has been slow. But as a country, we need to take a very definite position against South Africa. If South African government stepped in immediately and arrested and prosecuted, the March people, now March on March, or the Dadula movement, prosecuted them for human rights violation, nipped it in the bud at the very start, we won't be where we are today. Now the thing is not even an organic movement per se, and it does not reflect the views of the larger, South African society. So I think the government has failed the South Africa. There's rising unemployment about 33 to 40%. So that's where the problem is coming from. The immigrants are not the problems of South Africa, because when they leave now, I'm told that the shops are empty, taxis and buses are empty. So when they go, how would that solve the unemployment problem in South Africa?
Well, the questions are there definitely for the South Africans to answer. The challenge is how we as a people, as a nation, are also taking this up. Now, as I said, this is not the first time this is happening. Abike Dabirere had been very, very forceful and forthright about this for a very long time. And now another woman, the Minister of Finance, is also taking the lead on this matter and insisting that proper things to be done. In fact, she has begun to talk tough. Question: where do we go from here? When you say that the Nigerian government must do something or speak forcefully, what are your expectations? So that, because if South Africa does it and gets away with it, who knows what whatever other country in the world is going to do again. So in terms of setting a standard and creating a definite diplomatic deterrence, what are the things that you expect would do the magic, so to speak?
Well, as always, we explore all the diplomatic channels, government-to-government relations. I mean, we have, officials at the Nigerian High Commission in South Africa. I think I watched one of them this morning, speaking on the issues and how they are trying to deal with them. First of all, explore all diplomatic avenues to see how we can resolve this matter. Because it's not the first time. And I don't know why they target largely Nigerians, and some other, Africans, I think from Zimbabwe as well and a few other countries. So if we explore that one, that is one. Two, if that fails, and even if diplomatic relations have to break down, at some point it has to happen. When South Africa decided to take Israel, for example, to the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, heavens did not fall. Even though there have been some pushback from some, other countries, I believe that setting this standard and sending a very strong warning to South Africa that, Nigerians cannot be treated the way, this xenophobic rubbish that is going on in South Africa. So the engagement should continue. And if that fails, then we may have to use other means. And I believe that maybe that will work. Much as a lot of people do not support Senator Adams Oshomole's position, that we should nationalize the assets of South African businesses in Nigeria. But I think sometimes you want to, issue such threats and let them know some of these things are possible. Because every Nigerian life matters anywhere in the world, not only in South Africa. And I think that should be the position of the government. I know the Minister, Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu was saying some things along those lines, but we haven't had anything again since then. So let us be very clear what we want to do. And if diplomatic efforts fail, then we apply economic pressure.
We look forward to, to what exactly will be done, because you were saying that that's something that Nigeria was considering. We're still looking to hear the details of the steps that the Nigerian government will be taking in that regard, even as they continue to impress it upon them that Nigerians in their country at this moment need to be kept safe. And I imagine other African leaders will be doing same to the South African government. That clearly is one pressure that they have to deal with. But back home, we also have our own pressures as well. Politics is also in full swing here. It's not on the streets yet. But we're seeing the deregistration, the potential deregistration of a major political party platform, the NDC, and the dust, the furore that is already beginning to raise. Quite a number of lawyers have waded on it, waded in on the matter, and they are saying that they're wondering about the jurisdiction of this particular court to be able to revisit a matter that it had already settled before now. A number of people wonder, where does that leave the NDC and its presidential candidates? In fact, not just its presidential candidates, even all of the other aspirants on its platform. They have said they're going to the Court of Appeal. how quickly do you think that this will be resolved for them to participate in the forthcoming elections?
I don't, you see, Mark, the more you look, the less you see with our politics. So much has been going on with the opposition parties especially. And this way the stories have been framed in the past that, oh, it's APC, oh, it's President Tinubu, who doesn't want political parties to breathe. But I think to a large extent, the opposition parties have not also helped themselves. They have not organized themselves very well, knowing what happened in 2003. I'm really surprised that they cannot even come together. That is on the one part. Now, if you look at them individually, whether it's APC or now NDC, there's one story after another. First, NDC got their court judgment. A court ordered registration with INEC. I think that judgment was sometime in December last year. And now, so it's basically a new party. But what a lot of people are asking, and why it is curious, is that we joined NDC on the 3rd of May, and then 2 days later, this so-called peace party went to court 2 days later. And now the same court in Lokoja that originally gave a ruling that NDC should be registered with INEC, now reversing itself. So I'm not a lawyer per se, but from the developments in the political space, I don't think this is healthy. All the parties should be allowed to run and let Nigerians decide whether we have 2 parties or 3 parties or 4 parties. Let Nigerians just come out, on that day, sometime in January, to vote. Using the courts, and that's another conversation, how the judiciary, the role of the judiciary in our politics, in our democracy. And I think the democracy, the public image of the judiciary is very, very unhelpful. People are beginning not to trust the judiciary because of the kind of rulings that are coming out from different courts. The other day, it was one court saying that some parties should be deregistered. And of course, INEC went to court, and I think that was really a good move. And that move, the ruling by Justice Lifu was halted. And so much has been said about Justice Lifu. That's not part of what we're here to discuss today. Let the judiciary support our democracy. The way we are going right now, they are not. And we really have to make that point very clear. And for ADC, their presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and VP candidate, RBK, Rabi Musa Konkonso, I think they should just go to court. That's the right thing to do. The party should go to court. I think they have said they'll go to court. I watched the leader of the party here, countryman Sirake Disin, was shown, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. They will go to court, let them go and file that appeal. But overall, what is going on with the opposition parties from the standpoint of how the courts are being used, so to speak, it's not going to help our democracy. Why don't we want more people on the ballot? Why is the judiciary being used to frustrate opposition parties? Why is our democracy being threatened by the judiciary? I think those are questions, the Nigeria Judicial Council, National Judicial Council should also look at. We have lawyers that have also abused court processes, and I think in some cases they have been fined heavily, and I think that process should continue.
Yeah, you just talked about the judiciary as an entirety. It's interesting that the antidote to the judiciary is also the judiciary, because when this matter of Justice Lifu came up, it was the Court of Appeal that set that particular matter straight with very strong words for Justice Lifu. It didn't even get to the National Judicial Council. So in some ways, it does appear that the antidote lies within the system itself. Do you think it would be fair for us to keep making reference to the judiciary in that sense when we do know that the corrective mechanism also lies within the same system, and in many instances, they've shown that they're capable of correcting themselves? Oh dear, it appears Mr. Brahma is frozen. I don't know if you heard me, Mr. Brahma. We're trying to see if we can. Did you hear my question?
I can hear you now. For a moment, it was frozen. Yes.
It was frozen, okay. I was asking, well, we're totally out of time, as a matter of fact, but I was asking if you can manage this in 30 seconds. Do you think that it would be fair to, refer to the judiciary with one sweeping brush that they are the problems, when we do know that so far they have also proven that they're capable of correcting themselves?
Well, to a large extent, Nigerians don't trust the judiciary anymore, so they need to redeem their image.
Oh.
That is my position, and because there have been too many examples, we can cite many here, and how some of them allegedly are being compromised. We can't be, if you read Professor DiCarlo from time to time, yeah. I mean, he is a very distinguished lawyer.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
teacher.
It's also commented.
You understand, get some more insights into how the judiciary works in Nigeria these days.
Indeed, he's commented on this matter as well. He's commented on this matter, and he has raised very strong objections to how the Federal High Court judge reached this particular decision. Ordering the deregistration of the.
Marco, if we want to build a great country, there must be ethical leadership. We must promote ethical leadership, good governance, and I will do an article on that very soon. And how Rotary can support that through the four-way tests and Rotary's values.
We will see. We certainly will look forward to that article and hope that the people who need to read it are also reading that particular article.
They will read. It depends on whether they will act. They will read.
Okay. We have to thank you very much for your contributions, as always, to the program. Mr. Ehi Brima is the publisher, editor-in-chief of Niger Times. Thank you once more.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thanks, Marco, and thank you, Ayo. Bye-bye.
All right. We're still keeping tabs here on Channels Television on developments in South Africa, and we will certainly bring you up to speed with our correspondent. And here, his name is Innocent Samosa. We will certainly be keeping tabs with him on developments in SA as they come up with, that police have been deployed heavily, particularly in Durban, and the South African government is trying to reassure migrants, immigrants especially, that they will be looking after their safety and that they hope that this protest today will be violence-free. But stay tuned here on Channels Television. Thank you so much for watching the program today. I'm Maupe Ogunyiso.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. In a minute or two, it will be time for business news. Have a good day.